So I'm here at the UC Merced Venture Lab. This is my home office for now. Pretty cool place, great place if you're a business that's just starting up or a startup business to come and have some really cool resources like a conference room, whiteboards, Wi-Fi, computers, secure place. So one of the things I utilize the space for is to use this tool behind me, which is a whiteboard, which I think should be in every business anywhere because it's a super valuable tool for brainstorming and figuring out kind of how to solve problems. What I want to talk today specifically about though was organizational charts, what they are, why they're important, and how do you even start with an organizational chart. So the first thing is, what is an organizational chart? Well, an organizational chart is a chart of all the people in your organization, and you try to build it so that you can get a good understanding of who reports to who. So if I was going to put a basic organizational chart together for, let's say, a city is going to have a city manager. Excuse my chicken scratching handwriting. So underneath the city manager, there's probably maybe a CFO. You probably have an assistant. And then there's probably some other support staff that exists. Then under the CFO, there might be some accountants. Under the assistant, there's probably some other managerial staff. And then, under the support, there's additional staff. So what this does for the city manager is it gives him an idea of, hey, here's the people that are reporting directly to me. Here's who I need to package my information to deliver decisions into actions. And then it gives the CFO, if you were to build out into the CFO, you could build out all the people underneath him. To make it a little bit more relevant to AgTech, let's look at how a farm might be positioned. Most farms are going to have some sort of ownership because they are, what was the number I last heard? Something like 90+% of all family farms or of all farms are family owned. So you're going to have an ownership component. A lot of farms are going to have their farm manager position and the ownership position are going to be the same people. But for this example, we'll say that we have ownership up here. They report to, the farm manager reports to ownership. Now the farm manager is going to have a number of people under him. He's going to have an irrigation person, a foreman or manager, an equipment foreman, and probably going to have an agronomist. Probably getting off the screen over there with that. So agronomist. And then underneath the irrigation foreman, he's going to have, X number of drip irrigators. And then, he'll have X number of flood irrigators. And then your equipment foreman is going to have tractor drivers. And your agronomist is going to have some scouts. Very basic, very simple way of looking at an organizational chart. Why does this matter, and why does this matter for technology? Well, what this chart really is telling us is how this person communicates and who he communicates to, he or she, and then how these people communicate and who they communicate to. And what happens with technology is that technology changes how these communications happen. So right now, when the farm manager comes up with his irrigation schedule for the week, he's probably making a phone call or handing a piece of paper to his irrigation manager. Well, if you have a solution that helps improve irrigation scheduling or digitizes that, you're changing this communication link right here. You're changing this relationship. And when you're a technology company, you need to be aware of those types of changes that you're making to an organization. The challenge that we have in agriculture specifically is that we aren't very good at doing this process. I haven't been to a lot of farms that have really well documented organizational charts or accountability charts, and that creates a big challenge for a technology company that wants to be empathetic and understanding of how you function and how you do things. But when it's not well documented, it can create a lot of challenges and unforeseen, unintended consequences. So switching these guys' weekly phone call where they're discussing their irrigation schedule to an automated report changes the dynamic of that relationship, and that can be really impactful. So the organizational chart is a great way to start for a technology company walking into a farm. It's one of the first things I would be asking for, especially if I'm in the information exchange or decision-making realm of technology. So if you have a sensor or you have an app, like you're changing how people are doing their work and changing workflows, this is where I would start. I'd start with an org chart so I can understand, number one, if I'm an irrigation solution, I probably don't need to talk to anybody in the equipment area, or I don't need to look at that. But if I don't have an understanding of who does what in your organization, I might be talking to everybody or might not be talking to the right person. So start with the org chart. If you're a grower and you don't have this, I know it seems super simple, but start mapping it out, because what I'm willing to bet is you're going to run into some areas where there's a lot of gray. Like this one specifically, your irrigation foreman and your agronomist actually have a really strong relationship, because the agronomist in a lot of cases is the one who's developing an irrigation schedule. So it might be that the agronomist takes that irrigation schedule, gives it to the farm manager, and the farm manager communicates it, or maybe the agronomist is communicating directly with the irrigation foreman. One way or another, when you start mapping this out, you can start seeing where those types of gaps are, or where those types of crosses are in terms of how we function and how we do things. So I'm going to stop now because I think I'm getting close to the 5-minute mark. But this is fundamental for me when it comes to AgTech, and when it comes to running an organization. You got to start with your organizational chart. It's super simple to do. You can just put it on a piece of paper. I use a software called draw.io, draw.io. It's a free software, and it's how I build organizational charts, accountability charts, and workflows. In the next AgTech chat, we'll probably talk about accountability charts and how they're different from an org chart and why they're important. I believe it's Friday. Hope everybody is having a great week and has an even greater weekend. We'll see you next time.